Welcome back to Awesome Possum Hobbies and Games. I am Chris, and we are set for another TCG player order that I have for Magic the Gathering, and this one is a Modern Horizons 3 order. Yes, I'm working on an energy deck, so there's going to be a lot of cards in here that revolve around energy. So if you're looking at Liberty Prime, or if you're looking at some of the new energy revolve cards around Modern Horizons 3, some of these cards might be worthwhile for you to pick up, especially right now, because they are incredibly affordable. The first one I'm going to start with is Localized Destruction for 2 white, 3 generic mana for a sorcery. You get an energy, and then you may pay 1 or more energy. If you do, each creature with you control with power equal to the amount of energy you pay this turn gains indestructible until end of turn. You get to destroy all creatures. So if you had 5 energy and you have a bunch of 5/5s or 5/6s or whatever, as long as the power is 5 or however much energy you spent, you get to protect those creatures, and you get to destroy all the rest of the creatures in play. Great Wrath of God effect, especially because it goes in a couple different decks. It goes in the Liberty Prime. It goes in with some of the new Commander cards. I got a few copies of it just because it's dirt cheap right now. I picked up a full playset because I think I got the full playset for about $1.50. That's not bad. Next one is a Razorfield Ripper for 1 white, 2 generic for a 3/3 artifact creature equipment Rhino. Whenever Razorfield Ripper or equipped creature attacks, you get an energy, and then it gets plus X, where a number until end of turn, where it's an amount of energy you have. So when it attacks the first time, it's going to be a 4/4. Or you can go through and reconfigure by paying 2 generic mana or paying 3 energy to be able to attach it to a creature to give it the ability of giving it plus X when it attacks. Will that be a big factor to reconfigure? Yeah, if you really need to make something really, really big, if it's already a big creature. Otherwise, 3/3 for 3 is not a bad card. Next one is Aurora Shifter. For 1 blue, 1 generic, it is a 1/3 creature shapeshifter, and whenever this card deals combat damage to a player, you get that many energy. Important. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 2 energy. When you do, this card becomes a copy of another target creature you control, except it has this ability. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you get that much energy. So you can go ahead and pay 2. It becomes the Razorfield Ripper. And then when you attack, you get another energy. And then it got +2/+2. So if you had another energy already in play, or it gets, plus however many energy you had in play already. So if you had 2 energy, it gets +2/+2. And then it's going to deal 5, and then you get 5 more energy. So it really steamrolls with conjunction with these 2 cards or anything else that generates energy. So check out Aura Shifter if you're playing an energy deck. Next one is a non-energy related card, but it's probably one of the best cards out of the Modern Horizons 3. For a black, 2 generic for a 3/3 creature zombie goblin wizard. Yes, those are some great keywords. You get to pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature to create a treasure token. This card goes in Grenzo, and it goes in a few different decks. It goes in zombies really well. It goes in wizards really well. It goes in goblins really well. So, Grenzo is going to be loving this card, especially because if you're able to flip them from the bottom of your deck for only 2 mana to put a 3/3 in play, and then from there you're able to sacrifice other creatures to be able to get some. Yeah, you're going to be paying mana for those treasures, but at the same time, getting those in play, it's really going to speed your Grenzo deck. So check them out if you have a Grenzo. Next one is Crick, Son of Yawgmoth. This is a great reprint. It was from the last Modern Horizon set, but the last one did not have this awesome border. This is the etched foil version. For 3 black Phyrexian mana, which you can pay 2 life, or you can pay the black mana, plus 4 generic. It's a 2/2 legendary creature Phyrexian horror minion, lifelink, and then for each black mana in a cost, so let's say Warren Soul Trader, you can pay 2 life rather than pay that mana. So this guy would only be 2 generic mana and 2 life instead of having to pay all 1 black, 2 generic. And then whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on this card. So this guy grows as you play more black. If you don't have this guy as a commander yet, check him out. Otherwise, it goes in a lot of different black decks, especially if you want to be able to exchange life to be able to play your cards. Next one is Flare of Malice. This is a cool one of those borderless versions of the flares. Man, the artwork is stupendous on these. This one is going for about $6 right now for 2 black, 2 generic. Instant, you may sacrifice a non-black or non-token black creature rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the greatest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. So there's not as much control about this, but at the same time, if you're playing in a pot of 4, this pretty much hits all 3 of your opponents. You can either sacrifice a black creature to do it, or you pay 4. Overall, not a bad cost for a flare mechanic. I'm going to put this in my target deck because forcing your opponents to sacrifice creatures is amazing. Next one's Ashling Flame Dancer, 2 red, 2 generic for a 4/4 legendary creature elemental shaman. You don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. So at the end of your opponent's turn, you could dump all your mountains and create a bunch of red mana, and then it'll just sit in your mana pool, and it doesn't leave unless this card dies. Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, discard a card and then draw a card. If this spell is the second time you've used this ability, has resolved this turn, this card deals 2 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. If it's the third time, you get 4 red mana. Yes, and that 4 red mana does not leave your mana pool, just like any other red mana you have, because this card is in play. That really rewards you for playing lots of cards, drawing lots of cards, and then playing them. Yeah, this card's cool. It's going to go in a lot of commander decks. Wheel of Potential. This card, I got this card for less than $2, and I've already seen it. It's going up in price. When you get a chance, pick it up. It's kind of a novelty card, especially if you're playing with energy. For 1 red, 2 generic, it's a sorcery. You get 3 energy, and then you may pay X energy. When each player may exile their hand and you draw X cards. Yes, it's implied that you're having to pay X energy. If X is 7 or more, you may play the cards you own, exile this way until end of your next turn. So it doesn't have to be this turn, but you can play them. Yeah, this card is great. I can say a lot about it. It is like Wheel of Fortune, but at the same time, it does a little bit more. But of course, you have to pay that extra red mana. This card's value is, I only see it going up, especially the borderless version. So check it out if you get a chance. Next one's Party Thrasher. This card's interesting. I bought this specifically for my red deck, 1 red, 1 generic, for a 1/4 creature wizard. Non-creature spells you control. You cast from exile have Convoke, so you can tap creatures to help with the casting cost. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may discard a card. If you do, exile top 2 cards of your library and then choose one of them. You may play that card this turn, so it allows you to be able to exile cards, play them for value. You can discard cards that have no value in your hand. If you have a land card, you can get rid of it, so you have a chance of being able to play one of your top 2 cards. This card does a lot. I can't wait to play with it. Overall, price point for the borderless version, I got for, I want to say like $3. It was amazing. I think this card will go up in value, but we'll see. Next one is Aether Refinery, 2 red, 4 generic for an artifact. Whenever you get 1 or more energy, you get twice that much energy instead. Tap, you get an energy. No, you actually get 2, but because of the ability. Then you may pay 1 or more energy. If you do, you create an XX black Aetherborn creature token where X is the amount of energy you paid this way. So, yeah, this for 6 mana, it's expensive, but once you get it in play, if you're an energy deck, you're all about this card. You're able to generate lots of energy every time you play a card, or if you generate energy, it's generating twice as much. Fantastic. And then it has a way of using those energy late game. Blaster Hulk, 2 red, 6 generic for an 8/8 artifact creature pirate. This spell costs 1 generic less for each energy you've paid or lost this turn. Hey, Aether Refinery. It has haste, and then whenever this card attacks, you get 2 energy. Then you may pay 8 energy. When you do, this card deals 8 damage divided as you choose among up to 8 targets. Wow, it does a lot. I can't wait to try it. Overclocked Electromancer, 1 red, 2 generic for 2/2 creature lizard wizard. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, you may pay 3 energy. If you do, you get put a +1/+1 counter on this card. Whenever this card attacks, double its power till end of turn. And then whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, if that creature was dealt excess damage this turn, it gets X energy, where X is the excess damage. This card is going to be amazing. If it had haste, it would be even better. But what card isn't even better with haste? This is going to go straight in my energy deck. Got TCG Lieutenant. This card is bonkers good. It's a little expensive with 1 red, 3 generic for a 2/2 creature goblin, but at the beginning of your combat on your turn, if you control your commander, you get to create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. Those creatures gain haste until end of turn, and of course it has an ability of paying 2 and sacrificing a goblin. Siege King Lieutenant deals 1 damage to any target. I cannot wait to put this in my Grenzo deck. Grenzo is a beast, and it's gotten several great cards to go straight in that deck. Sawhorn Nemesis. 1 red, 3 generic for a 2/4 creature dinosaur. Don't slump on that keyword. Dinosaur is great. When it enters the battlefield, you get to choose a player. If a source would deal damage to the chosen player or permanent they control, it deals down double that damage instead. So it says source, so creatures are sources, so are spells like Lightning Bolt or Firebolt, or anything else that sits around in play are also sources. So, deals double the damage. So this guy, when it attacks that player, it's going to do 4. So 4 for 4 is not bad. Of course, then, and the only way of changing that target is by flashing it back in play. So, bouncing it or flashing it, or if it does, you can bring it back to play somehow to be able to target another player. Not bad. Sage of the Maze. This is an interesting, nice little elf here. 1 green, 2 generic for 1/3 creature. Elf Wizard, taps to reduce 2 mana in any combination of colors. That's important. And then the second ability, which I won't be using that often, but tap until end of turn, target land you control becomes XX citizen. Creature with haste in addition to its other type, where X is twice the number of gates you control. So this goes perfect in a gates deck. Then tap to untap gate you control. To untap Sage of the Maze, so it allows you to be able to produce lots of mana if you have gates. I bought a few copies because right now, playset was, I want to say like $1.20. It's worthwhile, even if the price has gone up a little bit. I think overall, if you ever plan on running a gates deck, pick up a copy. It's gonna be worthwhile. Next one is Tarmogoyf Nest for a green and 2 generic. Kindred Enchantment Lorgoyf or Aura. Enchantland, and Enchantland has pay a green and a generic to tap to create a Tarmogoyf token. Yes, poor Tarmogoyfs have fallen from grace, but now they are amazing in the Graveyard Overdrive commander deck, and this is just a extended version of that card. Is it really worth a lot of money? Probably not. It's worth between $4 or $5 right now for the extended version. Will it see lots of play? Probably not. It's cool in 1 or 2 decks. Overall, it's not fantastic, but I think it's worth picking up a copy of the borderless. Next one is excuse me, White of the Reliquary. A green, a black for a 2/2 creature zombie knight with vigilance. White of the Reliquary gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. So if you have playing with a Graveyard Matters deck, this guy can be pretty big for only 2 mana. And then tap, sacrifice another creature, search your library for a land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Allows you to be able to get some lands in play for 2/2 with vigilance. This is not a bad card for only 2 mana. On top of that, Graveyard Matters decks want to play with this card and will love playing with this card. Next one's Invert Polarity. This is an interesting counter spell. So for 2 blue, 1 red, it's an instant. Choose target spell, then flip a coin. If you win the flip, you gain control of the spell, and you may choose new targets for it. So if it's a spell, if it's a creature, you get control of it. If it is another spell, let's say take another turn spell, you get control of it if you won the flip. If not, you just get to counter the spell. So 50-50 chance of taking control of it for only 3 mana. Yes, please. This card is fantastic, especially in borderless. I got a few copies of it. I need to get a couple more because I think this card is going to be good in a lot of different formats, especially if you're playing with a coin flip deck or a dice roll deck. Something to be able to manipulate those flips. This card might be good in that deck. Next one is Genku, Future Shaper, and this is the foil etched version for a blue, a white, and 2 generic for a legendary creature, Moonfolk Wizard. It's a 2/5. Whenever another non-token permanent you control leaves the battlefield, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Create a token with the chosen characteristic. So 2/2 white fox with vigilance, a 1/2 blue Moonfolk with flying, a 1/1 black rat with lifelink. And then you can also pay a blue, a white, and 3 generic, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So if you've built a horde, yes, this allows you to make that horde even bigger. I think this card is going to see some play, especially if you are playing a white-blue entering the battlefield and blink or blur or whatever effects. This is going to be something that will be used, or even will be the commander. Next one is Imskar, Iron Eater for a black, a red, and 6 generic. This is the happens to be the foil etched version for a 5/5 legendary creature demon. Has affinity for artifacts, so it costs 1 generic less for each artifact you have in play. And then when it enters the battlefield, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is half the number of artifacts you control rounded down. So you have, let's say you have 4 treasure tokens in play. You get to draw 2 and you lose 2 life, and then you can pay a red and 3 generic, sacrifice an artifact. It deals damage equal to the sacrifice artifact's mana value to any target. So, those tokens that I talked about before, it doesn't do much damage, but at the same time, it's not a bad spell for less than 8, because you're probably going to have 4 or 5 artifacts in play, and then it's only going to cost, 3 or 4 mana to be able to put it in play for a 5/5 that is going to let you draw some cards. Not a bad card. Can't wait to put that in my Artifacts Matters deck. Satya, Aetherflux Genius. This is the commander from the energy deck from Modern Horizons 3 for red, white, and blue, and 1 generic for a 3/5. Legendary creature, Human Artificer with menace and haste. And then whenever it attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of up to 1 other target non-token creature you control. You get to energy at the beginning of your next end step. Sacrifice that token unless you pay amount of energy equal to that to its mana value. You can't target tokens, and you can target legendary creatures, but it doesn't really do much. I recommend playing this guy in the Energy Matters deck. I don't know if he'll be the commander or if my Liberty Prime will be the commander, but this guy is definitely going to go in that deck. Next one is Kaith, Famed Mechanist for red, white, and blue, and 1 generic for a 3/3 legendary creature dwarf artificer. Has Fabricate 1, so when it comes into play, you get to either give it +1/+1 counter, or you get to create a 1/1 servo token. And then other non-token creatures you control have Fabricate 1, so this guy would have counted. And you pay 2 and tap and choose 1. You get to populate or proliferate. So populate means you can choose a token that's in play and you create that you control, and you get to create a copy of that token, or you can give all your things that have a token. You can add an extra token of the same type. She's kind of cool. I think she's going to go in my Token Matters artifact deck. Goes in there pretty easy. Next one, Exterminator Magmark for a black, a red, and 2 generic for a 5/3 artifact creature Phyrexian Construct. Whenever you cast an instance or sorcery spell that targets only a single non-land permanent an opponent controls, if another opponent controls 1 or more non-land permanents that spell could target, choose one of those permanents, copy that spell. The copy of the spell chosen the copy target of the chosen permanent. And then this one has regenerate as well. So if you have some kind of effect to get control of something till end of turn, not only did you just take one person's creature, you could take a creature from everybody. If you had some sack outlet, it would be even better. I got a couple copies of it just for a couple different decks. I have a black-red deck that screams and want to be play with that card. Next one is Broodmate Tyrant for a black, red, and a green, and 4 generic for 5/5 creature dragon with flying. Whenever it enters the battlefield, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying and has encore. So if it's in your graveyard, you can go ahead and play it for a red, black, green, and 5 generic. Fun little dragon card. Next one's a Winter Mood. This card is fantastic in a stacks deck or even a monocolor deck. For only 2 generic mana, it's an artifact. Players can't untap more than 1 non-basic land during their untap step. So if you're playing with people who are playing 5 colors and you only play 1, this might be a great card to throw in that deck because it's going to slow everyone else at the table down, especially if you're only playing with 1 or 2 non-basic lands in your deck. You know, that doesn't happen that often. And this will definitely see modern play as a sideboard card if you're playing 1 or 2 colors, and you're not playing cards that are fetches. Man, this card is bonkers good. I think this card will see a ton of play, especially in a stacks style deck or monocolor deck. Pick them out while you can. They're pretty affordable, especially for the borderless versions. Stone Isle Generator, 5 generic mana for an artifact. This is the extended version. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you get an energy. You pay 6 and tap. Create a 6/12 card and construct artifact creature token with trample. Activate only as a sorcery. This thing is going to be a great way to be able to generate lots of energy. So if you attack with 3 creatures, you get 3 energy, and then you do that twice, you have 6 energy. And now you can produce a 6/12 construct with trample. Yes, please. Next one is Conversion Apparatus. Another 3-drop artifact. Tap, produces colorless, or you can pay 3 and 3 generic and tap. You get 3 energy. Or you can tap and pay 3 energy, add 3 mana in any combination of colors. This is going to go to my artifact deck. Not artifact. Well, it will have a lot of artifacts. This is my energy deck. Liberty Prime, yes please. Next couple are the medallions. I got 2 of them. First one is the Pro Medallion. This is the borderless version with the alternate art. It's an artifact for only 2 generic mana. White spells cost 1 generic less. Man, that artwork is fantastic. The next one is Ruby Medallion. Another one for 2 generic mana, artifact. Red spells cost 1 less to cast. Until Modern Horizons 3 was printed, medallions were going in between $10 and $15 each, and those are with the standard art. These right now are going for under $10 for most of them. Pick them up now. If you are planning on playing with a medallion, or if you're playing a one color deck, or even a 2-color deck with a lot of cards of those specific colors, these are a great include for any commander deck. So pick them up now while you can. The prices aren't going to get any better. They're just going to go up from here. And I have to say, the artwork is fantastic. They look great on the table. So pick them up while you can. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic week. And just remember to keep it rolling. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take the time to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to stay updated. Have a great day and keep them rolling.